In section 1.2, we look at some other ways to be paid other than by the hour or by a salary. And this is what we refer to as royalties or commissions. Royalties is money that an employee receives based on the number of sales they make, and commissions are a method of payment where an employee receives a percentage of the amount of sales produced by that employee. Some examples of occupations that earn money by royalties or commissions are authors. They would receive a royalty based on how many books they sell. Music artists, again, based on potentially how many CDs, records they sell, how many times their songs are downloaded, or even if their song is played on a radio. Others that might earn commission includes a car salesman, really any type of salesman. So possibly an insurance salesman, an artist. Now they might create a piece of art and then that art is reproduced, so they would receive royalty on that. And another popular one that would receive commission is a real estate agent. So the way these occupations are paid is calculated a little bit differently than simply taking an hourly wage or a given salary and determining how much they get paid over a period of time. It can fluctuate. So in this example, a car dealership pays commission to its car salespeople. They're paid a percent of the profit the dealership makes on the car, not on the selling price of the car itself. In this case, if the profit is under $750, the commission rate is 20%. So we would actually represent that by taking 0.2 of the profit itself. So if X represents the profit, then we multiply 0.2 by X. However, we would say this only occurs if X is less than 750. Next, we're told if the profit is at least 750 but less than or equal to 1,000, the commission rate is 22%. So now we have a second piece of the function. So we have to take 22% of the profit, or 0.22 times X. And now we would say if 750 is less than X, is less than or equal to X, is less than or equal to 1,000. So really that's just saying if X is in between or includes 750 and 1,000, then we would use 0.22X to determine the commission. And lastly, anything over $1,000 profit allows the salesperson to make 25%. So we'd have 0.25X, and this is if X is greater than 1,000. So next we can actually use this piecewise function to determine the commission, the amount of commission based on the profit of the car itself. So for a profit of $500, we would simply multiply 0.2 by 500, and that gives us a total of $100 commission. For $700, we're still using 20%, so 0.2 times 700, and that gives us a commission of $140. Now we look at a profit of $750, so since that takes us to our next tier, instead of multiplying by 20%, now we're multiplying by 22%. So 0.22 times 750 gives us a commission of $165, as opposed to $150 if we were still using the 20% rate. At $1,000, we're still at 22%. So we're multiplying that by 1,000. So our commission would be $220. And lastly, if we have a profit of $1,200, we're now in that third piece of the function. So 25% of the profit, 0.25 times 1,200 tells us the commission would be $300. So again, the function or part of the function that you use is based on the input or the domain of the function itself. Remember, domain represents the inputs or the x values of a function. This is a graph that would represent that piecewise function. Notice this red part of the line represents any profit that is below $750. The blue part represents anything that's between $750 and $1,000, and the green represents anything that is over $1,000. And I actually made a mistake. These two open dots should be switched. The blue should be a closed dot since 750 is included as an input, whereas the red should be open since 750 is not included in the domain of that first part of the function. Next, we take a look at what type of benefits your employer might offer you. So these might include a type of insurance, such as health, life, disability, dental, or vision insurance. Benefits might also include paid vacation time, paid holidays, along with paid sick time. Furthermore, you might also receive a retirement plan, stock ownership options, childcare leave, potentially a pension, and possibly luxury items. So this might include things like a cell phone, a car to use, or access to season tickets for a particular type of sport. So all of these benefits aren't physical money that's included in your paycheck, but they do have some sort of monetary value that would be a benefit of your employment. These are not required by employers to give to their employees. You may receive some of these, but not all of these. So you should always ask about these before accepting a job. And as I said, most benefits are not required by the employer to give you. They are an added incentive on working for a specific company. Other required benefits that are funded by the federal government are unemployment insurance and something called workman's compensation. So unemployment insurance is a government program that offers benefits to eligible employees who, through no fault of their own, have become unemployed. It's meant to offer temporary assistance to people who are out of a job but still looking for replacement employment. Again, this does not apply to people that are fired from their job, but people that, again, no fault of their own, lose their job. Workers' compensation is assistance to employees who are injured while working at their jobs. So, for example, if you were to slip and fall at work and sprain your ankle and you had to go to the doctor's, that bill would be covered under workman's compensation. But you must make sure that you report any injury at work as soon as it happens. Next, we're going to take a look at examples of how both royalties and commissions are calculated, along with looking at monetary values of potential benefits that are given by employers. So in example one, Andrea wrote a textbook for high school students. She receives 15% royalty based on the total sales of the book. The book sells for $42.35 and 12,000 copies were sold. How much did Andrea receive in royalty payments for last year? So this is as simple as multiplying the price of the book by the percentage in sales that she receives by the total number of copies that were sold. So we can simplify this and recognize that she's making about $635 per book times 12,000 copies gives her a total profit of $76,230. Example 2 is a little bit more complicated, and we can actually use a piecewise function to represent what's going on here. So Amy sells cosmetics part-time and is paid a monthly commission. She receives 13% of her first $800 in sales and 19% of the balance after that. Last month she sold $14.50 worth of cosmetics. How much commission did she earn? So I say this is a piecewise function because you would simply multiply the amount in sales by 13% if X is less than or equal to 800. Now, since she is selling more than $800, then we would actually take 19% multiplied by her sales minus $800, because it's anything after 800 is worth 19%, and then add 104 to that. The 104 comes from 13% of 800. So that's that minimum threshold for the first part of the function. And this is if X is greater than $800. So we can take $14.50, substitute it into the second piece of the equation. So $14.50 minus 800. And that comes out to a total of $227.50. So that means she must have earned $123.50 on this part of her sales. In example 3, we're told that Jody works at a furniture store and is paid on commission, receiving 15% of her first $1,200, 20% of anything beyond that. Last week, she earned $950, so what is the total value of furniture she sold? So first you have to decide, did she sell more than $950? And there's a quick, did she sell more than $1,200? And there is a quick way to check, because 15% of $1,200 is equivalent to 180. So if she sold exactly $1,200, she would have walked away with $180 in commission. Now she earned well over that amount, meaning she had to have sold more than $1,200. So we can start this from the beginning and say she received 2% of anything over $1,200 plus 180, and that would equal her total commission. So solving this equation, we could subtract 180 from each side, and that would equal $770. From here, we could divide both sides by 20%, giving us X minus 1,200 equals $3,850. And then adding 1,200 to both sides tells us that she sold $5,050 worth of furniture to earn $950. In example 4, Andrew works for a printing company, and he's been there a little over 5 years since he was hired. He now makes a little over $64,000, and when he was hired, he was told that he had 4 days of paid vacation time. For each year he worked at the company, he would gain another 3 days of paid time to a maximum of 20 days. How many paid vacation days does he now get at the end of 5 years of employment, and how much will he make during the time he's on vacation? So we can think about this in a chart as how many vacation days will he get at the beginning of each year of employment. So we know that after going into his first year, he started with 4 days. Beyond that, he earns 3 more days each successful year that he's worked. So by the time he enters into his 6th year, he earns 19 days of paid vacation time. So how much is that 19 days actually worth? So if we take 64,050, divide that by 52 weeks, that tells us he earns about $1,231 per week. Now, 19 days, if we're talking about a work week, is about or is equivalent to 4.8 weeks. So we can take this amount, multiply it by 4.8, and that tells us that the total amount he would earn on vacation equates to about $5,900. Lastly, in example 5, we're looking at the monetary benefit of employer-contributed insurance. So Gloria contributes 14% of her insurance costs, and her employer will cover the rest. She gets paid on a biweekly basis and notices that $98.25 is taken out of each paycheck for her portion for healthcare coverage. How much does Gloria's employer contribute to her coverage? So if we know that we have to take 14% of her total paycheck, that equals $98.25. So we could solve this by dividing by 14%, and that tells us her biweekly paycheck would equal $701.78. So from here, we could simply subtract $98.25 from this amount to determine that the employer pays $603.53 every other week towards her health care. And this comes out to about $15,691.93 each year for her health care. So while Gloria doesn't see that money physically, that is a monetary value of how much her employer contributes to her health care.